Hello and welcome everyone to another round of expert sessions. Today I'll be talking about Thingworx upgrade. My name is Ayush Tiwari and I'm from the Thingworx Foundation product management team at PTC. My key focus areas include storage, containers, deployment, scalability, upgradability and availability of the Thingworx platform. You can find more about me and connect with me on my LinkedIn profile, the link mentioned over here. In today's session, we'll be quickly revisiting about what's Thingworx IoT Solutions platform. Then we'll discuss the different upgrade paths available to upgrade the Thingworx Foundation platform. And then we'll jump right in to understand what's rolling update and how you can perform rolling update in edge clustering setup with a quick and brief demo from one of our dev experts. Then we'll have ample time saved for Q&A and live feedback. So in a typical IoT deployment, you have Thingworx platform that connects to different edge devices and ingest the IoT data. You contextualize that data, you build around that data and store the data, the model and the telemetry data into different persistent providers. You can further orchestrate that data and perform further analysis, and then you can derive insights by building different Thingworx user-based applications using Thingworx Mashup Better, and you can then deploy the entire system for high availability, disaster recovery, security, and manage the day-to DevOps. Using this construct, if you look at the different products that makes the IoT solutions platform, it will look like this. Starting from the left side, in the Thingworx Edge, you can establish industrial connectivity using Thingworx Kepler Server or Thingworx Kepler Edge. For the smart connected product use cases where you want to connect lots and lots of devices, you would use Thingworx Edge SDKs or Edge microserver, which gets embedded in the device or runs on the gateways. That sends the data over always on protocol, where you can deploy Thingworx connection services such as Thingworx connection server or Thingworx Azure IoT Hub connector that further sends the data to the Thingworx Foundation platform. You can store the data into different persistent providers that are supported with the Thingworx platform. You can use PostgreSQL, MS SQL, Azure SQL, which are RDBMS data storage solutions by different vendors for your production use cases for storing model and telemetry data. You can also use InfluxDB offered by Influx Data for storing just the high speed, high scale telemetry time series data stored as streams and value streams. You can integrate and orchestrate all of that data and trigger workflows using Thingworx Flow, connecting with different business systems such as Windchill, SAP, Salesforce, and other many such systems using 50 out of the box connectors. You can also use Thingworx Analytics out of the box to perform key machine learning or analytical to models and derive insights out of the data. Lastly, on the application layer, you can use pre-built apps or build applications using Thingworx Mashup Builder or customize some of these applications for your production use cases. Okay, let's talk about Thingworx upgrades. Thingworx platform upgrade is referred to as a process of upgrading Thingworx Foundation platform from a version to a newer version of the Foundation platform. A user can opt for multiple different upgrade paths that are available, such as in-place upgrade, migration, or rolling update. Rolling update is a newer path that is applicable only in HA clustering mode. So let's look at the different upgrade paths in further details. For example, in in-place upgrade, when you are upgrading from one version to a newer version of the platform, if the database and or the system remains the same, you can perform in-place upgrade. For example, Thingworx 8.4.x with database as PostgreSQL, and you are moving to Thingworx 8.5.x where it's just a minor version change, keeping the database same, you can perform in-place upgrade in the same machine. Similarly, if you are doing a major version change but there are no system change or no machine movement where the database and the Thingworx remains in the same machine, in the same server host, you will still call it as in-place upgrade. And similarly for the maintenance releases, if just the maintenance release version has changed keeping the database same, you would call it as in-place upgrade. In-place upgrade requires usually Thingworx Foundation server restart and user experiences some planned downtime. It usually have database schema changes, especially in the major and minor versions of the platform where you would need to run DB schema upgrade scripts. As you are not moving Thingworx from one machine to another, it does not require export and import of entities or data. Whereas in the case of migration, it will be applied when you are moving from one version to a newer version of the platform where either database and or system has changed or user has moved from even single server to HA cluster mode, for instance. If you look at Thingworx 8.4.x version with database as MS SQL Server and moving to Thingworx 8.4.x version, but the database has changed where the Thingworx version is remains same, you would call this process as migration. Migration requires Thingworx Foundation server restart and user experiences planned downtime. As you are moving data from one system to a new system with a fresh install in the new system, you would not require to run DB schema migration scripts. Um, Whereas you would need to do export and import of entities or data to move from one system to another. Now the new feature that has been made available to you is called rolling update, where if you are updating within the same major minor version release but with a different maintenance release where the database schema or data classes used by Apache Ignite has not changed within those maintenance releases. In only those cases you can perform a rolling update. We'll look ahead in the future slides about the different use cases and different scenarios where rolling update is applicable. For instance, if you have set up your Thingworx in a HA cluster mode with version 9.0.1 and the database is PostgreSQL, and you are moving to Thingworx HA cluster mode 9.0.2 with the database as PostgreSQL, you are performing rolling update. As a rolling update does not require bringing entire cluster down, thereby it does provide you an ability to perform entire cluster upgrade with zero planned downtime. It does not have breaking DB schema changes and no data migration is needed. It does not require export and import of entities or data. So now that you have understood different upgrade paths, here is a brand new guide that allows you to plan for your entire Thingworx upgrade process. This is a success path that has been launched recently by PTC, which allows you to plan for your Thingworx platform upgrade. It is broken down into three parts, which is you plan, and then you set up, and then you deploy the Thingworx, highlighting all the critical steps such as assembling an upgrade team. What are the 7 steps that are required, where you need to understand the skill sets, you need to project manage, and then after that you need to document your test strategy, where you would pilot the upgrade, determine all areas for testing, what to test, document test plan, and so on and so forth. This is a upgrade success path which you can refer, which cross links to the actual links in the Thingworx help center to allow you to run your upgrade process, referencing all the documents mentioned in the Thingworx help center, right? Okay, so now let's jump right in to understand how the rolling update works. Before we get on to the rolling update, let's understand a bit about high availability clustering. With Thingworx version 9.0 release onwards, the foundation platform supports high availability with active clustering setup. Before, with version 8.5 and before, you would set up high availability in the active passive clustering mode, where you would have one active server and n passive server nodes, where if one active server goes down, your passive server will replace the active server. It will come back up, but with some downtime. Whereas in the case of active clustering, you will have n truly horizontally connected Thingworx server nodes, where if one server goes down, you will still have other servers ingesting and processing the data and keeping the system alive. If you look at the architecture of Thingworx high availability clustering setup, you have devices connected, sending data over always on protocol in the form of WebSocket, establishing a WebSocket connection via load balancer connecting to Thingworx connection server. Connection server sends and receives request to the underlying horizontally connected Thingworx platform server nodes in a round robin fashion that processes the data, contextualizes the data, and stores all the telemetry data to the same data and model providers that you might be using today. You also have Zookeeper, which is used for leader election purposes and service discovery use cases. And one additional component that has been introduced in the active clustering mode is Apache Ignite, which is used for shared cache for synchronizing the recent property data and some state for the ThingWorx Foundation platform server nodes. This is the Thingworx high availability clustering architecture, and you can refer more in the help center link of the Thingworx Foundation platform from version Thingworx 9.0 onwards, where it details all the install and setup instructions in further details. With the knowledge of active clustering setup, you can install the cluster and then perform rolling update. The steps to perform rolling updates are pretty simple. You stop one of the Thingworx server nodes in the cluster, allow it to shut down completely and drain its data queue. After the Thingworx server has been shut down, you upgrade one server to the newer supported version, let's say 9.x.x, and then you restart the upgraded server where the other active nodes are still up and running. And then you repeat the upgrade and restart steps for each Thingworx node in the cluster. There are steps for upgrading Thingworx in high availability mode, which are documented in the upgrading Thingworx section of the help center that you can refer if you want to perform a rolling upgrade. Rolling upgrade is supported in limited maintenance release versions as of now, where if you are moving from Thingworx version 9.0.0 to version 9.0.1, you can perform rolling upgrade. Similarly to version 9.0.2, you can perform rolling upgrade. But if you are moving from 9.0.2 to 9.0.3, you would need to do entire cluster upgrade, which is you would need to bring the cluster down because of the introduction of some database schema changes and potential changes in the data classes used by Apache Ignite. Only in those cases where either the data migration is required due to schema changes or otherwise, or changes to the data classes used by Apache Ignite, you would not be able to perform a rolling upgrade, and we will be notifying all such scenarios in this kind of a support matrix and also in the release notes for each maintenance release. You can watch the release notes to understand which Thingworx version support rolling update or not. So let's look at a quick demo of a rolling update on how to do a rolling update. Before starting the demo, the assumption that I'm making is you know how to set up a HA cluster in using Docker container images running in a Docker Compose environment for your test build system. We'll be using HA proxy as the load balancer with version 2.3.2. We will be using two Thingworx connection servers containerized as Docker container images of version 9.1. We'll be using Thingworx Foundation nodes. Node 1 and 2 will be 9.0.1 on of the platform. We'll be using Zookeeper deployed in Quorum with version 3.5.7. We'll be using Apache Ignite, two servers in HA mode deployed outside of Thingworx on the Docker Compose environment. We'll be using Thingworx file repository and then the Docker engine and then Docker Compose environment, right, to run this HA cluster and install and set up the cluster mode. We'll be using only one database, which is PostgreSQL. You can use MS SQL Server in your test setup. You can also use Azure SQL, and you can configure PostgreSQL in high availability using pgpool and other different methods of setting PostgreSQL in a HA scenario mentioned in the PostgreSQL website. My colleague Abhay Hemant from Thingworx R&D team will be walking us through a quick demo of performing rolling update of a Thingworx HA cluster system deployed using Docker container images. Abhay, over to you.
A rolling upgrade between ThingWorx platform 901 and 902. Um, I have pre-built the images for ThingWorx platform Postgres on 901, which also builds the Postgres database, the Ignite images, CX server images, and these are the images that would need to be built to actually bring up the whole Docker Compose clustered environment. So once the images are all built, I go into the Docker Compose Postgres clustered folder and bring up the whole cluster. So once all the containers are up, we can verify that the platform is running on the HA proxy node. So as we can see, the platform version 901 is up and running. Now, to perform a rolling upgrade to version 902, we would need to first bring down one of the platform nodes. So in this case, I would bring down platform 1. So I can do this by doing the rm-s, which would stop and remove the platform 1 node. Let us confirm that the platform is still running on 9100 because platform 2 is still up. And it is still running on 901. Now we can build the images, stage and build the images for 902. So I will go into that particular folder and build the images for 902. Now I will build the images for 902. So the 902 images will get tagged as the latest images for the platform. Once the images for platform 2 are built, we will go back into the 901 folder to bring up platform 1 again, with this time with the 902 image, which has been tagged as latest. Now we will bring up platform 1 back up with the latest image 902. Let us notice that 9100 is still running, and it is still running on 901, which is platform 2. So now if I bring down, now let us bring down platform 2. Now we go back here and we notice that even though platform 2 is down, the platform is still running, and this time we have Thingworx 902. Finally, if we bring up then if we bring back platform 2 with the latest platform images, the whole cluster will be successfully upgraded using the rolling upgrade method. So as we can see, all the platform nodes, CX server nodes, the Ignite nodes, the HA proxy nodes, they're all healthy, and we can verify that the platform is still running on the HA proxy node, and the version is 902. We've successfully upgraded, and we can check both the nodes just to verify that the platform is successfully upgraded. 902 and 902. So that is a demonstration of a rolling upgrade between 901 to 902.
Great. Thank you so much, Abhay, for providing that demo of performing rolling update in the HA clustered mode. Next, I would like to highlight some of the important links that you can use to quickly test how to perform your rolling update on the Thingworx platform. You can set up your Thingworx HA cluster by going through the Help Center documents. You can set up Thingworx HA cluster in the Docker mode using Docker container images, where all the instructions have been provided on the Thingworx PDC Help Center version 9.0. You can upgrade your Thingworx HA cluster to referencing the document. One key thing to note is if you are moving from 8.x version of the platform to 9.x version of the platform, since it is a major architectural change, you would need to keep few things in mind about migrating your Java based extensions from single server to single server or single server to HA cluster mode. Here are the key links that you can go through. to ensure that you have successfully migrated your extensions from your previous version of the platform. If you want to learn more about how to set up Thingworx active-active clustering using Docker container images and in general information about active-active clustering, please join me in another round of expert session on January 21st at 8 a.m. EST. Last but not the least, I would like to introduce you to installer based in place upgrade. So now with ThingWorx version 9.0 onwards, we have introduced upgrades with the installer, where you can perform your upgrades from ThingWorx 8.5 onwards to ThingWorx 9.x in the single server mode using installer. The documentation about the ThingWorx installer is provided in the help center link that you can definitely check out. And let's look at a quick and easy video of how to perform upgrade using ThingWorx installer.